Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Master Drum Whiskey Room. I am Jason C. Like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do to help grow the channel. I feel like I say that a lot. I think I do in all my videos. It's like programmed in my brain now. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome to a very, very special night here on the Master Drum Whiskey Room on a Whiskey Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good time, ready to have a good time, ready to learn a lot tonight, ready to taste some amazing whiskey. Hope everyone's got something good poured in their glass. So the secret's out. Nancy Fraley is here tonight. I know I usually keep the judges under wraps as far as the secret goes, but Nancy was kind enough to come on and share some of her recent blends that she's been working on that are already out now, and some of the amazing stuff that she's been working on. Also, there's a great article in American Whiskey Magazine, if you guys haven't read that yet, about her and her inspiration, her music inspiration that helps her in the blending process. So we're going to dive in a little bit to that tonight and see how music does inspire her blends and her methodology when she kind of gets down to it and starts blending some blends. Certain genres affect the way she blends. I'm really interested to kind of hear that. So tonight she sent me 4 really amazing, pours that I can't wait to get into here. One that we talked about actually a couple weeks ago when they announced it, which is the Wyoming Whiskey 10 year. So I'm going to get all into that tonight, including some other few surprises that she sent. And then Nancy's just going to stay on with us. You know why? Because she's going to be the judge in Blendageddon, the next round of the semifinals tonight, with some heavy hitters going head to head. Some friends in the chat, some friends all over the place that have done a great job with some of these blends. So it's going to be interesting to hear Nancy's take on them and break them down, just like Ryan did last year from Bourbon Pursuit. So before we bring on Nancy, I want to just say hi to a bunch of people in the chat. So let's see. Brandon's already Nancy freaking Fraley. Hope she just tears everyone apart in cold blood. She's too nice to do that. I'm very excited to hear Nancy's evaluations of each pour. Maybe get some insight into her brilliance. Absolutely, man. Cameron Lochner's here. What's going on, buddy? Rob Zilla is in the house. Hey, Nancy's in the chat saying hi to folks. Justin Jenkins is here. I see William Wiley. Chris Buzalencia from Biloxi. What's going on, man? Tim Gorgeous is here. That's right. Blendageddon edition. Brett Marquette's in the house. Ed Williams. Saucy Shane, who's got a blend in the mix tonight. Duke McHale is here. Tim Cornet. EJ is here. What's going on? Thanks for the thumbs up. Say hi to Lily for me. Tim Cornet is here. Nancy's awesome. Way to go, Master and Drum. Roy R does cocktails. What's going on, man? Let's see. Slap Shots Roadhouse is in the house. Eric Sawyer also has a blend in the mix tonight. He's got actually one of my favorite names of the blends. No butterflies were harmed in the making of this blend, which I thought was pretty brilliant. Jeff Perkins is here. Dunny. Burben is in the house. Everybody raise a glass to Burben. It is his birthday actually today. So everybody raise a glass to Burben. Happy birthday, my fellow New York buddy over there on Strong Island. That's right. We call it that sometimes. Jimmy Munt is here. Ricardo Carroll's here. Roy R does good thing. He says he cracked open the Indiana Strand before and now on to Rockstar. Yeah, let me know what you think, Roy. I'll actually show you guys those labels. This will be great to have Nancy on. Thanks, Paul P. Tim Gorgeous is here. Mark Mace. Adam Hinson, Nate Cox, let's see, Northwest Bourbon, Whiskey Juice, Ben Drammond's here. Cheers to the M&J Army. Nathan Jurgensen says, I have a Nancy flight poured for this. Still Austin, J. Henry, Wyoming, and of course, Cigar Blend. Dude, that's like the exact friggin' thing we're doing tonight. So that's pretty cool. And then a bunch of people coming into the fray here. Actually, I think I missed a super chat coming down. Cool Running, Katie Turk, Adilio Samuels, Copper Fox, Dusty Dan in the mix. Wise Guy, Whiskey Guy, thanks for putting it together for us mortals. Oh, you're very welcome, Wise Guy. Tonight, and if I could get a volunteer in the chat, over the weekend I put together the 12-pack samples for the 2 winners last week for the 12-pack samples of Master Journey Whiskey Club barrel picks. So I'm going to give another 2 away tonight. So any super chats that you put in will get you in the running to try to win another 12-pack. I put some Houdini in there. I put some Four Roses in there. So there's a lot of good sipping, a lot of good samples for the 12 days of Christmas. So if anybody can help keep track for me, I really appreciate it. but any super chat will get you in the mix tonight. So, yeah, can you? Yeah, I don't think that's happening, Alan. Okay, so I think we're good. 240 people already here, more coming in. This is awesome. Whiskey Central, thank you, Shayla Bot. I appreciate you. I know Whiskey Central, Shayla is very excited to talk to Nancy. I think they've talked before. So without further ado, guys, without with or without knowing it, most of us have tasted Nancy Fraley's blends. She's a master blender. She has created a bunch of sought after whiskeys, some that that she puts together and some that are a little bit undercover. She has consulted on projects all along from Wyoming Whiskey, J. Henry & Sons, Iron Root Republic, St. Augustine, Virginia, Distilling Company, Still Austin, and probably a lot more that I can't even think of right now. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Nancy the Nose Fraley. How you doing, Nancy?
Hey. Hey there, and happy birthday, Bourbon, as well.
Yes.
It's your birthday.
That's right. My brother from another mother.
Yeah. Love it.
Not really. We look nothing alike. He looks like Jerry Garcia from he looks like Jerry Garcia from the dead. So it's awesome. Yeah, Nancy's here, guys. So Nancy, how you been?
Oh boy, pretty busy. I just came home off the road. Was in Wyoming, Wyoming Whiskey, celebrating the 10th anniversary release, which we'll be tasting.
Oh, there it is.
And then I was teaching a whiskey and rum maturation, blending, and warehousing class at Iron Root Republic. So yeah, I always come back from that, and I always get some kind of nasty bug. So I'm just kind of coming back to life again. The scalp is working, so that's.
Hey, as long as all this is working, we're good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in good shape. So.
So you sent me 4 pours here, 4 blends that were pretty close to you, what you worked on.
Right.
So let's talk through these. I'm not sure which one you want to go through first. So Nancy sent me the J. Henry & Sons Limited Edition 2022. She sent me Nancy's pick, number 7, which is from Still Austin, 119 proof. She also sent me the Wyoming Whiskey, the 10-year bourbon, which she just showed on camera. And then, of course, the Magnus cigar blend, the number 9-2 that everybody has been talking about. I've heard a lot of buzz about it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tasting this.
Yeah, sure. So, why don't we start with the Still Austin?
Okay.
The Nancy's pick thing here. So yeah, back in was it June of this year? We started. So I do all the blending for them, and been working with them since they took a class of mine back in December 2013. So I've been working with them ever since. Still
Austin actually sponsors my channel, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it means I can't ever really review their stuff again, but I still love them.
True. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, this is so when I helped start the Nancy's Pick program, blended everything in that at a minimum to be 4 years old. So this particular barrel though is 4.5 years old, and I'm hoping by next May everything will be at least 5 years old, and the goal is to keep on walking up the age ladder there. So
Adam Dorman says my missus just gifted me a Wyoming Whiskey National Parks Edition number 2. It's outstanding. Nancy does such a great job blending these great whiskeys. I'm a huge fan.
Fantastic.
Nice to hear, Adam.
I love. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's.
I will say, out of all these Still Austins I've had, this is definitely the one that I've had that actually smells the oldest. I mean, this does not come off like a 4-year-old whiskey, and some of those youthful notes that I get off Still Austin, I'm not getting on this at all.
That's what I like to hear. I wanted to see that age just keep creeping up
Yeah.
here all the time.
I get this beautiful graham cracker note on this. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So how many? So this is a Nancy's pick. So you said this is a blend, correct?
No. This is a single barrel.
This is a single barrel. Okay.
Single barrel. Yeah.
So tell me, what struck you about this barrel that you had to grab it and deem it and christen it Nancy's pick?
Yeah. I've been watching this barrel probably since July or August. Kind of in so I tend to watch these barrels for that program.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 to 6 months ahead of time, kind of see how they're progressing. And what I liked about it is I thought it was going to be a good holiday type of, a single barrel. I tend to get a lot of oh shit, sorry. Honestly, I've not been drinking, but just now getting started.
And we are live, folks.
Cheers to that. Yeah, that's it. It had a lot of like fig kind of notes to me, just kind of what I think of holiday Christmas type of notes.
Yeah, I think that cinnamon graham cracker is what's resonating with me. That's coming off very ginger snap, a little bit of spice, really nice finish on this. I mean, for 119 proof, gives you a nice little let's call it a Texas hug.
Texas hug.
Yeah. Hey, ADHD Whiskey's in the house. He's like, is the Wyoming whiskey Steve Nally distillate that Nancy's blending?
Yes. I mean, I've been blending. I've blended everything at Wyoming Whiskey since October 2014. And the last of the Steve distillate would have been spring of 2015. So yeah, so we're I've been blending stuff ever since then. But yeah, the past couple months I've been going through the entire stock from 2009 to 2015, as a matter of fact. Thousands of barrels. I mean, it's taken me all fall to kind of go, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah, this is the more you say, like the Christmas spices, kind of like grandma's spice cabinet around the holidays. I totally get all that in here. That's really nice. It's man, it actually comes off like an older MGP, but it's actually a 4-year-old Texas whiskey, which is crazy.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah.
It was distilled on June 4th. When was it? 2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really excited as that stock gets older. We also have some of the wheat recipe too that's been getting older. That's already in the over 5-year range.
How is the wheat? I haven't had the pleasure to taste the wheat stuff yet.
It's something, just as what wheat whiskeys tend to do. It's just now coming online. Whereas the rye recipe, that like the way that most rye does, it comes on a lot sooner. But I've gone through a bunch of the wheat over the past few months too, and enjoying that. But I'm what can I say? I'm a rye fan. So. It's not discounting, the
Tony Bag of Donuts in the house. What's going on? My paisan. Hi, Jason. Hi, Nancy. Big fan of Iron Root. Did you have a hand in the Saints Alley line? Also, hi, Grinch. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, long story. I was going to. I don't have a hand in Saint Sally. but I think they're just really killing it.
The Saints Alley, wasn't that the collab they did with Liquor Hound, or am I thinking of a different?
Yeah.
That's the same one, right? Yeah.
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 It's Trevino. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, and I just saw him last week too. So
Yeah, I got to get to Iron Root. We haven't been able to get there quite yet, but they have a single barrels, great single barrel program, and Scott and I for the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, we're trying to get in on it and grab a barrel from them pretty soon. So we can't wait. I haven't really been there in person yet, so I'm really decided to see what gems they have waiting for us in the barrel house. So
you're in for a treat, my friend.
Yes. I can't wait. All right, Nancy, what are we trying next?
All right. So next, let's go over to, let's see. Should I kind of go with the proof? Maybe. You know what? Let's go over to the Wyoming whiskey, the 10-year-old.
Oh yes. I actually have a photo of that bottle. I think I'm going to put up for everybody. I think here it is, guys. Right. That is the Wyoming whiskey 10-year. That is the bottle that Nancy put together. So tell us a little bit of the stats on this one.
So this is the rye bourbon element of Wyoming whiskey's Outrider.
Okay.
So it is there were certain barrels that I so all of it and everything in here was distilled in late November, early December of 2011, and there were certain barrels that I've kind of been watching over time that I kind of elected not to put into the Outrider program, that I just wanted to hold back because I thought they had a lot of maturation potential. And you know, after 10 years, said actually it's a product that we were hoping to release late, just as soon as the birthday came. We were wanting to release last December, but I didn't think that the barrels were kind of like in what we call dormancy, and their maturation. Can talk about that a little bit more later. And I didn't think they were ready yet, so we waited until spring, until the barrels were, kind of late spring, and until everything was about 10.5 years old, and the barrels had come out of dormancy and were right to blend. So that's when I had it harvested and put into a tank, and I'm very, very proud of this blend. It's
why does this smell like an old-fashioned cocktail?
It's funny you mention it because I kind of find that too. Yeah, there's something almost like
it's like candied cherry and orange, and it's extremely it smells like a really sweet cocktail. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the rye is a lot tamer than it had been. So I've been watching this stock since it was 3 years old, and now it's I've got some barrels that are now over 11 years old in it. Just hit their 11th birthday.
This is one of the most fruit-forward, jammy, desserty whiskeys I think I've ever. That's crazy. I thought that what batch was that you did for the cigar blend? It was the something
Darth
blue.
Vader?
Not the Darth Vader, the something blue. It was
was it Cigar Blend Blues?
Yeah, blues, and it was like it's like a blueberry muffin in a glass. I thought
blues. Yeah,
I thought that was the most kind of fruit forward, but this might be beating it. Jesus.
Yeah, that was a pretty fruity blend, but yeah.
Gosh, it tastes like Hawaiian punch. in like the best way possible. This is like taking me back. It's like old fashioned Hawaiian punch, and damn, that's good.
That's since I was a kid.
Is this still available?
Yeah, it's still out there. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It just went national on December 1st.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a nice batch right there.
So
oh man, yeah. If you guys like fruit forward bourbons and whiskeys, this Wyoming batch 10 is no joke. I mean, that's all it is to me. I mean, there's some nice spice that kind of lingers, but man, is this thing fruit forward? It's spicy. It's also very creamy too. It's got a nice viscosity to it.
Yeah, that's the yeast strain. Fruitiness is from that too. The second yeast strain that we use on it.
Eugene Nassif's in the house. The legend herself. Hello, I love your work.
Woo! All right. Just real quick on Wyoming whiskey, but because I've been going through so much of the old stock from 2009 to 2015.
I gotta fix my camera. Sorry, real quick.
yeah, sure. I'm hoping by, depending on the powers that be at Wyoming whiskey, but to I have some of the wheat recipe 10-year-old and maybe 12-year-old ready to go soon too. So that ought to be fun. We'll see how that plays out. They want me to put it together and put a blend together of that. I definitely will. They'll be fun.
Hey Nancy, can you talk a little bit about your process about for using music to inspire your blends?
Yeah. You got it. So I think it's been in is it an American Whiskey magazine last year, and I know some other shows I've been on where I have talked about how both playing music and as a well, first of all, as a drummer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and these days I probably do more bass guitar, but help with playing music and just the listening part inspires blends. So pretty much anymore these days I've my first dream was I wanted to be a rock drummer.
Hey, I'm right there with you, Nancy.
So, well, that I was a percussion major briefly in college, and those dreams didn't quite work out. But that said, I more and more I'm very interested in the intersection between creating music and creating whiskey.
Yeah.
And how those things influence me. And
so does the whiskey you're blending drive what you're listening to, or does what you're listening to drive what you want to blend, or does it kind of happen one or the other, or vice versa?
It's mutually interdependent, if that makes sense. So what I'm listening to at the time influences what I blend, while what I blend and the whiskey I'm working on also kind of influences what I'm listening to, or what I'm wanting to play at the same time. So case in point, lately I've with some of the Still Austin blends, like the rye, for instance, I've kind of gone back to stuff I hadn't really heard since my childhood. 1970s. I've been. It's funny. I didn't really like it at the time, but I've been listening to like a lot of old school punk.
Oh, nice.
Like the Clash. I don't know if you saw the cigar blend, Rock the Casbah, that batch.
I did see that in your tasting notes list. I always like, even when I don't get the cigar blends, I just like reading your tasting notes because I think they're just so like all encompassing. And then you kind of read through them, you're like, oh man, if you kind of like see how different they all are, which is really interesting. Like the one we just talked about, the rhythm and blues, and then the one I got not too far ago, what was it, the year before maybe, was that pirate's booty back,
Oh, right.
which
Yeah.
was so savory and rummy and just incredibly like tropical compared to the dark fruit bomb that was the other one. Was pretty amazing. And I don't think a lot of folks realize how different those batches can be.
Yeah. Oh no, it's amazing. So yeah, I let whatever I'm listening to, or the fact that I was listening, or let me backtrack for a moment. So with the still Austin rye, for example, rye, 2+ year old, kind of being spiky, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It that kind of led me to kind of go back to listening to some punk stuff, Patti Smith, Iggy Pop and the Stooges, it's kind of
Oh, I love Iggy Pop and the Stooges. That's
yeah,
actually, you know what? That's a group that I have to throw back on the old playlist. I haven't listened to them in a while. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I love that. And with Velvet Underground, really going back a bit more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of Blondie when they were a little bit more punk and
Before they went a little more pop, they were definitely
yeah,
more on the punk side. Yeah, I think that's the Blondie I like before some of the more pop stuff that they did. But
yeah, absolutely.
No, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I love that methodology that you have, and I think anything you could help. I mean, you're probably tasting so many whiskeys. Music probably just helps you kind of just put your mind at ease and let you just focus up a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's this. I've probably tasted more whiskeys this year than I wouldn't say over the course of my career, but I mean, I've just gone through. Wyoming whiskey alone. I've probably been through 3 or 4,000 barrels this year. Not to mention Magnus and J. Henry. Everybody else. I have really touched some whiskey this year.
Yeah, you have a lot of releases that have come out. Let's talk about the J. Henry, since you just mentioned it. You want to get into that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I didn't do a pour of everything, so I'm just gonna have to pour back what I've gotten. So just me for
EJ, I will send Lily a 12-pack of Chew Bones if she wants it for Christmas. I will definitely sell her. I love your little bulldog. Hi, Lily. I'm gonna send you a gift. Learning Central, privileged content, great stuff. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you, man. So the J. Henry. Now, J. Henry is maybe a lesser known brand of some of the brands that you work with out of Wisconsin. Right. They make absolutely delicious stuff. I think the one limited edition release I had was a cognac finish, which was so good. So tell us about this one. Tell us like a little bit more about J. Henry. I don't know if you could talk mash bills or how they distill, but let us learn a little bit more about this great distillery.
So yeah, and I'll put that.
Yeah, let me solo layout you so people can get a look. There you go.
Awesome.
That's J. Henry. I don't know if people have seen the bottles with that design on it, but they're fantastic stuff. Yep.
So what they've been around since 2009 actually. They first distilled some brandy. They are so they're seed cord farmers. They've been growing grains since 1946.
Okay.
And they're a French origin, or the family comes from France. So I started working with them back in 2013, 14, kind of seriously when things got going. And so I've been with them, done every blend since the very beginning. And so what they do, so they actually they don't distill themselves. They have Paul Warney at 45th Parallel do their distilling, but they do all the maturation, the élevage is what we call it, the French tradition, which I'm part of.
Yes, yes, you are. Yeah, if you've,
So,
I think the French tradition and what you've kind of leveraged that, you've leveraged all that information that you learn and kind of, utilize that at some distilleries. That's why I think like Iron Root and some of the Still Lost and some of those distilleries in Texas, their stuff doesn't always necessarily taste like it's from Texas, because I think they use this slow maturation and this French style that you've kind of imparted upon them, and it's brilliant stuff. Yep.
And so that's what we do at J. Henry. Let's see. Oh, what one's that Wyoming whiskey? Is a hidden gem. It's like
we don't talk about it just anyway. Yeah, nobody talk about Wyoming whiskey. I'm sorry, I might have blown up that spot tonight.
So while J. Henry doesn't distill, they kind of go on kind of like a model of what a lot of Armagnac producers do. That whole tradition, they'll grow the grapes themselves, and they'll have a mobile still come by their domain and distill all their wine and which then becomes Armagnac and do the whole maturation. So the Henrys kind of follow very much of like that old Armagnac style, and being French and so they're I've been working with their son Joe Henry Jr. now for a number of years. He's I just promoted him to head blender, and I've been training him for a long time. Back in 2017, I took the family to France with me to go study with the master blenders that I tend to study with and such. So anyway, just real quickly about this. This is a blend of 5.5 to 10.5 year bourbons.
Oh wow! Okay,
it's a blend that the Joe Jr. and I we work on the blend for several years. So we pick the casks several years in advance and kind of get them going towards the way that we want them to go, and the profile that we're looking for.
So this might be a weird question. I'm sure you've gotten this question, but this is a question I always want to know. When I'm talking to blenders or distillers, and they're distilling whiskey, they have barrels aging, and they come across barrels that they feel are special or like already maybe 4 or 5 years in, man, this tastes good. So in theory, you could have several barrels that have 5 or 6 year old whiskey in it that's aging, that tastes really good. What do you look for personally, or what do blenders or distillers look for in a special barrel that distinguishes it from the rest of the pack? So if I have 2 5-year bourbons that taste really good, but one of them has that something else that I just want to let this thing go and cook, what is it? What is it in those barrels that makes you think that gives you that mindset? I think that's a question I've gotten, and I think maybe everyone watching would like to know. Yeah. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
So it's it kind of comes down to let's say we're looking at 5-year-old bourbon, just like what you said, but we want to let that age.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm looking at, and what other blenders are looking for too, is the amount of congener content. So congeners are all the things outside of ethyl alcohol that build flavor, essentially. So all the organic acids and other kinds of esters and such. Also looking for enough fatty acid in there to allow for long-term maturation. So you can look at a bourbon, for example, and at 5 years old, it might not be ready to release. But but if you kind of see what, oops, God.
That's two, Nancy. That's two.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to cut myself off here in a minute. But that said, you're looking for barrels that have maturation potential for that kind of product. To see if it's going to be ready at 7 years or 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever. I don't know if that gets to your question, but
I mean, so you're getting into that whiskey at a molecular level. You're looking at it through a fine, microscope, and you're looking at those acids and seeing, you could basically see the potential it may have just through that lens. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah. That's kind of getting to the heart of it there. And I'm looking at something that's so when you see something that's kind of youthful, 3, 4, 5 years old or 2 years old, you're kind of thinking, does this barrel have potential to age to 8 years old or 10 or 12 or 15?
Yeah.
At a certain point, bourbon, just by the nature of the way it's distilled and the content of fatty acids and such, it's not and the oak profile too. I have to say, after maybe about 12 to 15 years, most of it does not age as well. And, maybe I shouldn't say that because I do work with some very old bourbon. But, in truth, at that point, those are often better for blending. It's very rare that I find bourbon that old that's kind of, perfect in and of itself. It's kind of, just better for blending purposes.
No, that's really interesting. Thanks for answering that question. It definitely helps me understand some of the decision making and some of the profiles that blenders look. I know Ryan Cecil's in the chat from Bourbon Pursuit. He's he's taking notes, so he knows.
Well, Ryan, if I find that I've lost a job at several distilleries, come tomorrow morning, I might need a job.
I think Ryan is working on the Pursuit series cigar blend. He might need your help with that.
Love it.
2 quick questions for Nancy, then we're going to get into the next 2 drams here. What's a newer brand past 10ish years you'd love to work with, and what bottle would suit progressive music, Dream Theater, Rush?
Oh wow. Well, I'm a huge Rush fan. I'm huge Rush. What bottle? Let me kind of think about that. I want to say I used to work with the Shelter Point out of British Columbia, off of the Victoria Island. Maybe something kind of Canadian like that. Finished in sherry and ex-bourbon cask or something. But I'd like to get back to me. I'll think. Kind of, you kind of want to go in that Canadian vein. Maybe not Dream Theater necessarily, but.
Oh, what's up? Everyone's in the house. Quick question from everyone. Mizunara oak usually needs to be about 200-year-old trees. Now I'm curious for oak barrels. What age generally now are they using for to make oak barrels for bourbon and American whiskey generally?
Yeah, sure. American oak, known as Quercus alba, white oak, is usually somewhere about like in the 75-year-old range. Mizunara, just to talk about the Japanese oak, also known as Quercus mongolica by its Latin name, is actually really not great for tight cooperage. So it tends to leak a lot.
It's a very porous wood.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get into this J. Henry.
All right.
Ooh.
So I'm interested in what you're getting off of it, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, knowing nothing about the mash bill or anything, Um,
Yeah,
it's
for
coming off. It's coming
yeah.
off a little bit like with a wheater profile to me. I'm not sure if there's any wheat in it.
It's got wheat, rye, yeah, and yeah, red corn that it's a particular varietal that was created by the University of Wisconsin in, I think, 1939 or something like that.
It's got this very caramel corn nutty profile to it that I really like. It almost reminds me of like a more elevated, a little bit more rounded. Um, I mean, maybe that's not. I don't want to say Jim Beam because I think it's a completely different profile than that. But like that nuttiness quality that you get. But this has a little bit more of like a stone fruit vibe going on the palate for me too.
Yeah, I so get that. There's a lot of cherry in it to me.
Yeah, it's
like chocolate covered cherries.
I get chocolate, but I get chocolate and apples. I don't know why I'm getting the apples from. I love the apples in it.
I can see that for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Not like maybe like a Red Delicious, not an apple, not a Granny Smith, but like a Red Delicious apple. Something that's a little bit on the sweeter side.
Right. Yeah.
Man. That's good. Yeah, and that nutty profile it has. I'm guessing that's from the red corn because it's less. It's got a little bit more starch, so it comes off a little bit nuttier. Correct.
And it also has more proteins than
there you go.
Yellow dent corn. So yeah, that's
damn. That's a blend of, what'd you say? Just 2 barrels?
No, it's got how many about 7, 8 barrels or so, but a plus, like like a gallon of, a certain component here and there. Again, it's a blend that we work on for several years before we release it. So
this is a great question. So the OHLQ lottery, the Ohio BTAC lottery, is happening now. What would your top 3 picks be?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is the whole BTAC collection plus all the Pappy and then the Old Rip and then the Van Winkle Special Reserve. So for me, my top 3 always are pretty much the same every year: William LaRue Weller, George T. Stagg, and then Pappy 15. Everything else, they could keep it.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I go to. George T. Stagg is my favorite, followed by William LaRue Weller. Kind of love both equally for different reasons. But I would have to say my third in that. I do like the Sazerac.
See, I haven't had enough of the Saz. I've had pours like here and there, the Saz 18. I just don't feel like I'd have enough of it to warrant like taking one of my top 3 spots at the moment.
I mean, I used to buy that stuff when it sit on the shelf for 6 months, and I God, do I really want to spend $75 on that?
Right?
There. Right? And oh my God, yeah, those were the days. I'm not as much of a Pappy fan. I like the Stitzel Weller. But
I would agree. I think the newer Buffalo Trace Pappy bottles aren't nearly as good. People overpay for them and go crazy for them, but I just think it's the story, the rarity, and the romanticism of it is more than anything. I won't revert back to your over 15-year-old comment before about bourbon. We'll keep that under wraps, but I totally agree with that. That's why I think Pappy 15 is kind of the sweet spot. If you're going to get a Pappy, if I honestly won a 2023, I would probably trade it for 2 George T. Staggs. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of the 23. The 15 is I see that as after that it starts to kind of go.
Yeah. I mean, lot B to me is a glorified Weller 12. Yeah, they can be good. It's a low proof. Old Rip Van Winkle, I think, is a really solid bourbon, a 10-year bourbon. But just that you have to, that is a perfectly good $60 to $70 bottle, and that's all I really want to pay for. I'm not going to pay $500 for that bottle. I could get McKenna 10 for $53. So or Wyoming 10. Why not? So
Yeah, I know that I totally hear that for sure.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, so tell me about this cigar blend number 92.
All right. Let me put the J. Henry away, and there we go. All right. So this cigar blend is I don't know if this is going to come out here. It is the 130th anniversary blend. So it commemorates 1892, that when the original Magnus distillery started. And interestingly enough, I added, I mean, not that you can taste this, of
Oh
course,
my
right?
God.
I added about 30 milliliters of the original 1892 to this particular blend. It's also just like a special 3-barrel blend uh,
Mm-hmm.
that I did. Plus, I added it probably has more 20-year-old in it than any other cigar blend that I've ever done.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so you're getting at least a few molecules of the 1892.
A few molecules.
And I keep that stuff when I created the original or the Magnus triple cask. The original Magnus had either been spent its whole maturation life or had been finished in sherry cask. So that's the only reason I do a sherry cask finish. The cognac finish is not historically accurate.
So one of my favorite Scotch whiskeys in the world is Bunnahabhain, and Bunnahabhain makes an 18-year. And
Yes.
one of the notes I get on Bunnahabhain that's kind of calling me back to this. Now that's a sherry finish,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this chestnut slash date note. Like my family roasts chestnuts literally, but we roast them in the oven. We don't do it on open fire like Nat King Cole tells you to. Um, we do it in the oven like at like 450 and get them like real dark and get them like real roasted. Then we crack them open. I get like, this takes me back to like cracking open chestnuts at Christmas, like dark chestnuts, but it's also very sweet and vanilla extract. Damn.
Yeah, it has a lot of sweetness to it, and that part I was so I had to be very careful in adding that extra 20-year-old, but because I was really afraid that what I was going to do was dry the thing out. So the 15-year-old components that I picked, those 2 barrels had to kind of make up for the sweetness, if that makes sense, but
Mhm.
because I knew I was going to add a lot of 20 to it.
Yeah, I concur with Burben, the birthday boy's assessment. I remember when 58 Darth Vader, which I have, was the batch to have, and I got it, and then she makes 92. Not only does she make 92, but it's a Michigan exclusive.
Yeah, well, it's also in should be at least in the state of Ohio too, since that's where the original Magnus distillery started in Cincinnati. But yeah, I was just I mean, I take a lot of time with all cigar blends, but I was just really meticulous, probably checking this barrel like every 2 weeks over like 8 months, or to something, or the Armagnac cask that it goes in. So
God,
um,
it tastes like a fruit infused cigar. Oh, it's got this spicy dryness to it, but it's like the sweetness that balances out. Like I'm still getting all the like the dark dates and the chestnut. I'm getting, yeah, that, my gosh, it's like this smoky experience, but you get all like this blackberry jam all kind of mixed into it. This one's all over the place.
yeah, well, it's the kind of thing, if you're going to add a lot of 20-year-old, or some kind of very drying component, you kind of have to balance it out somewhere else,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
God, a lot of, and all this dark chocolate hits me on the back of the palate on this. That's crazy.
looked long and hard to be a 15-year-old component. So it's 15 to 20 years old on this one. But yeah, I had to find some really, sweet barrels, among that 15-year-old stock. And it was kind of hard to do. But, it, yeah, I've finally got there, and, or, it's,
So is it more challenging to blend something youthful with something older, or is it more challenging to blend more old components together?
That's a good question. It depends on the components themselves. So I often find it's much more challenging to blend old components. So especially if there's a lot of oxidation involved at that point, and they're kind of dry and kind of get, for one of a better term, I kind of think of it like a varnish type of note. It's like an old
Yeah,
dust.
I've gotten varnish on an old bourbon before. I literally just said that about some bourbon I reviewed not that long ago. Like it tasted like varnish. I try to remember.
Varnish.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was.
And so you're trying to get from the older component, you're trying to get some depth in your blend, which may or may not have length on the palate, but it's that is so difficult. For example, which I'd love to send you at some point, but I've been working on the next Magnus Family Reserve.
Oh wow! Okay.
Probably about 4 years now. So that's a 17 to 22-year-old blend. It might be 18 to 22, but before it's
just insert drooling emoji right now. Just yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, that's the hardest thing I've ever worked on. So I've got a lot of depth to it, but what I'm trying to take care of is to find older components that don't have that dryness to it. And
yeah, that's
and
what
so,
everyone was asking. How do you define balance? Is that really what it is? Is trying to balance like the sweet with the dry, with a little bit of dry, but also making it, flavorful? Because for me, I have to have, if I have to have the perfect whiskey, it doesn't really matter what the profile is of it. It's got to have a great nose. It's got to, I mean, the nose is important, but I'm more, obviously worried about the palate. But it's got to have a blast of just really great flavor on the front of the palate, mouth coating. And a nice long, finish that lingers, and not so much in your chest, but just like it sits right here.
right.
And I feel like right here, like the sides of your tongue. I feel like for me that defines balance, like in a really good whiskey.
I think that's very well said, Jason. So, kind of when I'm building a blend, there's a lot more to it than this, but what I'm trying to do is build dimension. So you can kind of think about it as like you're trying to build depth and length. So depth. Think of being like in a elevator. If you've ever been in an elevator where like in a hotel where you can see all the different, it's glass. You can see all the floors. There's a lot going on the nose and.
I'll tell you what, I'll never look in an elevator the same way again. That's for sure.
Whiskey next time you're in that kind of elevator, but length is arguably a lot more difficult to get than depth. So you can have an old whiskey that has a great nose to it. It has a lot of complexity, a lot of things going on. But if
the finish on the cigar blend is taking me in so many directions. I take one sip, I get a little bit of the smokiness, then I take another sip, it gets sweet. I take another sip, it gets savory. It kind of bounces everywhere depending on where your palate's at that given moment, which I think is what really good, whiskeys and blends do.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's arguably the hardest part. Is to create, and to where minutes later you're still tasting it. And
here's a great question: what makes bourbon oily or viscous? I mean, I think I think everybody has, you can read articles about this, but it'd be great to hear it from you. What do you think makes, or what do you know makes whiskey oily and viscous?
So yeah, so what brings that into play is not only the yeast strain that's chosen, but also the amount of what we call tails. So those
Hmm.
are the higher molecular, higher boiling point alcohols that come off, like propanol and such. And that's you can actually feel it on a very oily whiskey. If you dip your finger in it, you can feel the oil in there, and those are what we call the fusels. You don't want too much of that because too much of it will kind of have a very, for one of a better, it tastes very flat,
Hmm.
or like petroleum jelly, just very oily and flat. But enough of it, or just the right amount, is what creates long-term maturation complexity, and that's what you're looking for. For in the barrels that you want to age long term.
Now, when it goes into the barrel, can those congeners and fusel can they either increase or decrease on during maturation, or
They can, yeah,
they can? Okay.
the congener contents and acids and such can. The oiliness. So if you taste a very oily bourbon, or any whiskey for that matter, it could be single malt, whatever. When it first goes in the barrel, it's and for the next few years, it's probably not going to taste very good.
Okay.
But you let that go on long enough, and you're going to really come out with something just beautiful and complex. And it needs all those years and time to really create matured complexity, and all the things that we really like. And
I don't know, Nancy. I think Nancy. I think you need to create like a summer camp with Nancy Fraley, and everybody can just sleep in a rick house, and you could just like teach them all this. I would do
Yeah.
very bad things to be part of that summer camp.
Well, that's, I teach courses for distillers, of course, but for a long time now, I've actually kind of thought of doing some kind of course for connoisseurs, or uh, people that maybe they don't want to go quite as deep into the technical stuff, but they want to geek out somewhat too on it. So
Hmm.
who knows? We'll see that. But yeah,
Let's
it would be super fun to do something like that.
All right, this is a good question. Has a not so good but just unique bourbon made it into a blend, or do all need to be great for a blend? So that's a good question. And that's probably a lot of blenders, even these Blendageddon guys that are in the mix tonight. Can a not so great bourbon, theoretically, elevate a better bourbon theoretically?
That is one of the best questions come out yet. So, in the blending world, we have a saying that 2 + 2 rarely equals 4. It could equal 5. It could equal, -3. It could.
Summer camp. See, we already have people signing up.
Love it, love it, love it. But, so yeah, for that's the thing about blending. Sometimes you can find, mediocre barrels can, of course, come together to create something much better. Um, but you can also find in like blends, like cigar blend, or like the J. Henry and Sons, or the Wyoming whiskey, or
Hmm.
whatever, where the barrels I'm looking for, those kind of blends I'm really meticulous about what goes into there, and it's nothing inferior, for sure, for sure, on that. So when I build a blend like that, there are certain qualities I'm looking for out of the barrels. Like if I get a lot of say complexity on the nose. It's very intense
Hmm.
and such. But I need on the palate. I'm looking for something that's going to extend that length. Make it just go on and on and on and on and on, and have be a roller coaster of flavors. There are barrels that I'm going to look for and groom to be able to do that. And when you're building a blend, a high end blend, I'll say it's the kind of thing that you do over the course of years, and it's not just like you harvest the barrels and boom, it goes into a stainless tank and
Hmm.
it's out the door. It's the work of many 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 years, and maybe if little adjustments along the way in the blend. So, and that comes from my cognac training and such to, build something over the course of many years. And I love that. Yeah, I went to. That's not all you got. Sure,
Not all you got. You got very educated. You got very educated too.
Very educated. Yeah.
That's right. All right, Nancy. Well, I want to thank you for all answering a bunch of questions, but you know what? It's that time.
It is that time. And
It is that time to get into Blendageddon. So all I'm going to ask you to do is line up your blends A, B, C, D, E, F, and I'm going to get set up here. But before we get set up, as always, guys, I made a little trailer just for tonight. Here we go. Oh man, it is round 2 of the semifinals tonight. It's about to go down. We have another amazing 6 blends going head to head tonight, making it to the final 4, all 4 with a shot to become Blendageddon champion for 2022. Last week, we saw Oisin Hayes and Keith Thompson make it to the final 4. Who's going to be the top 2 to get chosen tonight? Guys, tonight's semifinals round is stacked with Shelby Strong, Kelsey Dime, Saucy Shane, Jeffrey Wack, Eric Sawyer, and the Wise Guy Whiskey Guy. All of them in the chat right now, probably about to start sweating. And hey, guess what? Our secret judge, not so secret, she's already here. Nancy the Nose Fraley, judging the blends tonight. All right, pour something good, grab some popcorn. I'm ready. The Grinch is ready. Are you? Oh boy, that's how we do it, Nancy. we get everyone pumped up.
Woo! Yeah, all right. Ready to go.
Jeffrey Wax says, I've changed shirts twice. I'm dry for 5 more minutes. And Kathy Graves is in for the Camp Scholarship Fund.
Awesome.
All right, so you know what, Nancy, we'll just make it easy. These have all been kind of poured randomly. You have your tops on them, so I'm not going to mix them up here. We're just going to go A through F here. Let me grab my notepad.
Okay, perfect.
I've been keeping track of all these, all the blends, the tasting notes. This way I can kind of go back and see if they got different, just sitting in their sample vials. Did they change? So I always like to kind of go back and check that out, just kind of get a nice like curated list of all my tasting notes for these blends. Awesome. So we are week 8 semifinals, ready to go. And guys, as you have questions in the chat, I'll definitely try to get them up there to Nancy. Best of luck to everyone tonight. Absolutely. OH is pulling for Jeffrey friggin' Whack and Kelsey dropping dimes tonight. I think I've started something. I'm sorry, Nancy. You might get messages about summer camp this week. My apologies. So Oh shit.
Haven't started the camp just yet. So
Yeah, let Nancy finish her blending. Maybe we'll get a camp one day. So all right, so you heard the names in the blend. Let me show everybody the bracket real quick.
yeah.
So this is the bracket. We had Oisin Hayes that moved on to the final four, as along with Keith Thompson with his Sunday evening cigar blend. You might be very proud of Keith there, Nancy. So tonight, as I mentioned, Shelby Strunk, Kelsey Dime, Saucy Shane, Jeffrey Wack, Eric Sawyer, and Wise Guy Whiskey Guy. 6 blends vying for those 2 spots to become the Blendageddon champion at number 5 for 2022. So good luck to everybody. Nancy and myself are about to dive in. Let me throw on a little beats here, little music, and we will get into it.
All right. Good luck, blenders.
All right, and now, Nancy, you could be brutally honest. You could say if it's shit. You could say if it's really good.
Oh, I'm not going to tell.
Nancy's like, I'm not going to say it's shit, but I'll choose my words wisely. All right, Nancy, here we go. Letter A. You ready?
All right. Yep.
All right, here we go.
And are we drinking on this, or just going down the line to?
We basically we nose and we taste going down the line. You don't have to obviously take big sips. Just kind of get your first impressions. We can go back. Usually I like to go back through them in reverse order, just one more time, just to get the finals. Let's see here. Hey Nancy, great seeing you on the YouTubers from the J. Henry Schmucks.
It's you too. That's.
As promised, for that shout out to Nancy. Thanks, Jason. Oh, you're very welcome, Keith. All right. So, Nancy, what do you think about A?
I'm getting a lot of rye on the nose. A lot of not a brown baking spice, but also something quite spicy, almost and a slightly smoky, like chipotle.
Oh, like chipotle peppers?
Yeah, but I'm definitely getting a lot of spice on it.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a spicy meatball off the bat for me. That's all I like to say. It's a spicy meatball. Yeah, I would agree. I think rye spice, but I'm getting a nice sweet rye spice. I'm getting a lot of cinnamon. I'm getting some candied orange in here too, a little bit.
Yeah, that's candied some citron kind of notes.
Citron. That's a really good. Yeah, that's a great word. Boo Ryan's asking, Nancy, I love your cigar blends. Do you by any chance know the name of batch 120? And do you know when tasting notes will be available on the website?
So yeah, I think I stopped with batch 111 or 112 or something, just because I ran out of time and had to go on the road. So probably just as soon as I can pick it back up. Sometime.
So no name yet, Boo Ryan. It's coming though. Keep an eye on the website.
Not it yet. Yeah. So, may I taste?
Yeah, let's go in. Cheers. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you.
Fun to hang out.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. This goes into that balance you were talking about earlier. Absolutely. Very sweet spice, and I'm getting that finish right here.
Yep, that's where I'm getting it too. I'm probably getting a little bit more spice on the nose than I am on the palate. Although I do find spice on the palate, brown baking spice, and cayenne pepper, chipotle, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean the peppers I wouldn't have thought until you especially the chipotle pepper, which I love cooking with, to be honest. So yeah, getting that on the nose and palate for sure.
There's something about it for me that's very drying, though, almost some like eating spinach, a little tannin there too. That's.
Yeah, if there is a heavy rye component in this, which I think there is. It is a little bit drying on the palate. I'm
It
getting
is, yeah,
more of this. I'm getting more of the spice and dryness on the back end than some of those sweeter flavors I was picking up on the front of the palate.
right.
I'm not sure if maybe sitting longer, the rye spice kind of took over a bit, maybe.
Yeah, that's I'm finding the more that it evolves in the glass, I'm finding more of the that rye and some tannin coming through too. Some so I'm finding it drying. Um, I, I think it's a very nice blend, but
Hmm.
that drying component is um,
Yeah, it starts off great, mid palate great, but yeah, the finish it does get a little bit drying. I totally agree, and um, yeah,
it,
between whether yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
length. It has good length and and depth, but the dryness of it is kind of where I'm finding that it's falling a little short.
Hmm.
So I don't mind spice. Admittedly, from a non-professional and a personal point of view, I'm a huge rye fan. But yeah, the dryness is kind of where I'm finding it's falling short a little bit.
Yeah, hey, that's fair. I'm getting the same thing. Um, I mean, all these blends were chosen. We started with 40 blends, and all
Yeah,
the
that's
all the judges that came in to help pick all these. I can't say thanks enough. And now we're really down to kind of the minute details. So
yeah, yeah. No, this is if that's the way that this is going to start, we are in for a fantastic evening, my friends. So, like, and I'm being very granular here too.
mhm.
That's a fantastic blend. Are we on to B?
Yeah, let's go to B. Let's see what we got.
Ooh, wow.
Oh wow. Okay. Way more sweet and complex here, I think, on the nose. Look, Nancy's looking at it in the light. She's like, "Let's see, what do we got in here?"
Yeah, absolutely. That
Yep.
so there's automatically, yeah, a lot more sweetness for sure.
Yep.
I feel like I detect some rye underneath it, and it's almost like a little bit of dill to it. Um, Dill, savory kind of note underneath the sweetness.
I'm getting a little tobacco leaf in here too. Little bit of tobacco grain, like a little bit of cigar ish,
Yep, yep.
like a light cigar, like a Connecticut. Not
Right, right.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, a little bit of lemon balm.
Man, that is sweet though,
Tarragon.
compared
Yeah.
compared to the first one.
Hmm.
Ooh. Okay. This brings me to like a really nice toffee type of note that I'm getting on this. Mm.
It does. What I'm finding on it, though, the sweetness that the nose promises is not coming through on the palate. It's
I
not.
agree. I agree. It's not nearly as sweet on the palate as it was on the nose.
Yeah, absolutely.
The nose is like a candy shop, but on the palate, it definitely is a little bit more tame.
Yeah, yeah, and I what I want to look for is when the nose promises one thing, I want to see that happening on the palate. Now, again, I think what we've got going on here, this is just like absolutely being granular.
Hmm.
The two that we've had so far have been fantastic, but
Yep.
yeah,
Well, no, these are good notes to take down because as we have to narrow this down to two, I mean these notes are going to matter. So
absolutely. So I want to see a little bit more sweetness on the palate than, but because it's almost like confectionery on the nose.
it is. It's
And,
yeah. It's so candy on the
yeah,
nose. It really is.
absolutely. So I want to see that on the palate too.
Watching Nancy sample these blends is viewing and master the craft work. Thanks, Nancy. Absolutely. You know, I think these are some of the things that may have been brought up, but Nancy has a way of articulating it a little bit better than me just being like, it's just too fucking dry. I'm not going to drink this, like, you know. Oh, shit. Nancy, what is the best way to follow you online? So you're on Instagram, correct?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I haven't been doing so much of Facebook lately. I've been doing more Instagram lately. So yeah, I would say Instagram is probably the best way.
All right, guys, the Insta, go for it. Already Saucy Shane, his heart is pounding. He has no clue of what his blend is.
All right, Shane, woo!
Jeffrey Wax says, whoever doesn't move on tonight gets hired as a Fraley camp counselor as a consolation prize. Oh, I love that.
Mata, hello, Fada.
Hello, Fada. Hello, Fada. All right, third one. You ready for letter C here?
Absolutely. All right.
Oh, C has a wonderful nose too.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, this is gonna get down to the nitty gritty here because this one takes me again a sweeter, but I get way more of like an aged profile in here. I get a little bit more oak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That, and I also get a lot of what we call rancio. Those are the oxidized esters of fatty acids that kind of lead to a like a nutty type of note. So I get marzipan.
Marzipan, you say? You owe Fred Minnick $10 now.
All right.
Where's my checkbook? I got to just send that to him right away. This is like when you thought you wrote a great Christmas essay for school and your teacher, Nancy, gives you a C+, and you say, I'll shoot your eye, kid. Jeremy Gutman, this is a master class because whoever's blends are in here tonight, and also last week when Ryan was when we were tasting through these top 6. I mean, I think what we learned as far as blending and the methodologies is really it's just a real, you know, just brain dump of information that you guys can take with you to maybe next year or just doing some home blending of your own, for sure. Wade Ward was at Still Austin last weekend and picked up a bottle. They said it was Nancy's favorite pick. Hello, fellow Order of Nancy members. All right, did you try this one yet, Nancy?
I've been stuck on the nose, but because what I'm getting, the level of complexity on this one is just out of sight. I'm getting. I mean, I could just spend all evening on that nose. So the level of complexity that I'm getting here. So there's some. Well, let me say one thing. When you're building a blend, the way I like to teach blending is your what I call the pyramid theory. And the blenders around the world, it doesn't matter if you're blending, you know, wine or whiskey or coffee or tea or whatever. Kind of think about some kind of you're building dimension. Building layers. And
wait, hold on before you go on, Nancy. I want to give everyone the chance to go get their notebook right now. Go get your notebook. And everyone write. I literally just started writing this shit down. Pyramid theory blend. Okay, now you may go. All right, go ahead. Explain it.
So the bottom of the pyramid, the base is what kind of what you build your blend from. So let's say we're building a bourbon, for example. The base of the pyramid is basically going to be barrels, maybe from the bottom to maybe the middle tier in the warehouse. It's going to be very caramel, vanilla-ish. Kind of build that foundation that you find in vanilla or in bourbon, which is vanilla and caramel, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But by itself, it's not really that complex.
Hmm.
So the next layer of the pyramid is what we, the supplemental layers that you're looking for more, say, dark dried fruit, slightly more spice in the blend, and the flavors are going to be a little bit more intense. In the warehouse, maybe you're starting to kind of climb the, get a little higher in the warehouse. And then by the time you get to the very tip of the pyramid,
Hmm.
those are going to be the components you use the very least of. So, so if you're doing a blending from a warehouse, again, maybe that's going to be from the very top of the warehouse. The very spicy elements, or very smoky elements, or it's some kind of note that by itself is just so aromatically intense that by itself it's you wouldn't want to have a single barrel like that. It's got to be a spice bomb or a smoke bomb or a fruit bomb or whatever, but just a little bit of that, maybe as little as a 1 to 3% in a blend is kind of what wraps the whole thing together. So whether when you're building a blend, if you're a musician, like we are, I like to think about starting with you've got rhythm, harmony, a melody. You're building something with dimension or bass.
Yeah, Vic. I'm feverishly writing these. Vic. I'm feverishly writing these notes down, Vic, because I'm hoping. And Nancy, I'll talk to you about this. I definitely want to work on my own blend. I think.
Yeah. That's I'm super psyched about that. When I heard about that, I was just like totally psyched. But yeah, you're trying to build dimension. But anyway, getting back to sample C, I smell that dimension in there. I feel it, and I taste it.
I get it on the palate. There's a lot of complexity and dimension to this blend for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. That one is and everything I'm getting that the nose promises, the palate offers.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting study when you're coming off of B, because B has the nose that you're like, oh man, this is so good. But
right.
the palate doesn't necessarily deliver it, but C does.
Oh, it
has the nose and the palate that all not only does it match, but it just keeps bringing out more and more flavors.
Yeah, and it aerates too, and it just keeps on evolving. I'm really impressed with this. I'm just super impressed with this.
So whoever is letter C, you might get a nice apprenticeship from Nancy Fraley.
Well, I can tell you, after the show, I might keep on.
Wow, that's really good.
That one, that is fantastic.
Yep.
Super impressed with that blend. You want to go over to D?
Well, before you go to D, we have to ask everybody, every judge that's been on here, and it started with Scott, my brother from another mother, from my bourbon journey, all about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't know. All of a sudden, everybody got real passionate about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and how it should be made, what they use, the bread, the peanut butter, creamy, crunchy, types of jelly, the type of bread, the spreading technique, everything that goes into a peanut butter and jelly. So the world wants to know, Nancy Fraley, how do you prefer your peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
I love peanut butter and jelly. So all I'm doing is on it like a nice dark rye, like a Jewish rye or something like that, pumpernickel or whatever. I like having probably because I grew up with it as a kid. I like Jif.
Yeah. Okay.
Not fancy schmancy, but I like the.
A lot of people said Jif, honestly.
Really?
A lot of people love Jif or Skippy. They went old school. They like the simple peanut butter.
I don't
So
like Skippy, but I love Jif. So I like that with I like
wait. First, before you get to the bread, creamy or crunchy?
crunchy.
Yes, another. See,
Yeah.
everyone gave me shit about crunchy. Nancy Fraley also prefers.
Oh yeah, bam.
Bam, crunchy. I'm in the crunchy. I need texture. I need the crunch.
Yeah. You've got to have the texture to it, and then maybe like a blackberry jam, yeah, or raspberry. Even I like to feel like seeds.
All right, so you go to like preserve. You go to like preserves level.
Preserves level, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I want to feel all of that. It's it ought to be an adventure. When you're having a PB&J.
Man, this is amazing because we've gotten so many different sides of the spectrum. We've gotten like I just like white bread, creamy peanut butter, and grape jelly like when I was like 5, and now we're getting into like crunchy peanut butter with preserves. I want to feel the seeds. All right, so I'm more of a jam guy. I'm more of a jam person. I like the jam, but I'm with you. Raspberry jam, blackberry jam. Sometimes when I'm in the mood, little blueberry jam, very delicious. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm
All
fine.
right, so the bread. This is kind of the next thing. I like toasted bread on my thing because again, it's more of a texture thing. Toasted white bread or toasted like multigrain, something like that. I just like toasted bread. Where when you're reaching for the bread to make your crunchy peanut butter and preserves sandwich, what bread are you reaching for?
Well, yeah. So for me, it's almost always a rye, and I actually do like toasted, but not overly toasted, just enough to kind of get that Maillard reaction. A little bit of the caramelization.
Okay.
And that way you've got the caramel going. You've got the rye caraway seeds in there as well. It's very complex, and I need texture. I need something to kind of excite my palate. I like all of that.
I'm with you. That's why I need the toasted bread. I need the crunch, the crunchy peanut butter, and I need some rich jam to go on it. So, listen, everybody in the chat was getting on my shit. I'm making peanut butter and jelly like Nancy Fraley. So screw everybody.
All right.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
So somebody said they put mayonnaise on their peanut butter and jelly, and I almost threw up in my mouth. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh God, yeah, I'm not a mayonnaise fan, and a and maybe I'll be universally despised after admitting this, but I'm going to admit it. I love Miracle Whip.
I am not a mayonnaise fan. I've had Miracle Whip a couple times. I might prefer Miracle Whip over mayo, but I don't think I'd like go out of my way to use it at all. EJ says, "Okay, summer camp lunch menu is set. PB&J with dark rye, crunchy Jif, and berry preserves."
Woo! Yeah, that's right. We're gonna have that every day too.
That's right. That's what everybody gets. And if you don't like it, then you can go home. Okay. All right. Let's go to D.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. This is so much fun. Thank you so much, Nancy, for doing this tonight.
So much fun.
Everybody, please, if you haven't yet, please hit the like button while you're watching. I really appreciate it. Oh, I like the nose on this.
Oh, me too. Wow. That's going a direction I was not expecting.
Ooh, this is like almost burnt caramel, like that burnt brown sugar you put on a creme brulee, but somebody went a little bit too far with the torch. There's
it seems very rye forward, but I'm almost getting something like a high ester Jamaican rum on it.
Oh yeah, like maple syrup, like little maple syrupy.
Yeah, and a little bit of like a overripe, almost rotten, and rotten in a good way. That makes sense. A tropical fruit, like it's both savory and fruity, if that makes sense. So I'm
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
like a overripe tropical fruit. Think mango, pineapple, papaya, but there's also like a caraway seed and tarragon and
It reminds me a little bit of that pirate blend we were talking about earlier, where it's a little bit on the rum side, but also very savory.
yes, and I like that a lot. That is really interesting on the nose. That's it's intriguing. It's one of the things I was taught about blending is that not that we, it's blenders always achieve this, but for any blend you do, that it ought to invoke passion and interest when you get the first nose on it.
Oh
It ought
man,
to
I
invite
really like this. Yeah,
world. This is fantastic.
this is a fantastic blend now, man.
Well, that is complex. I'm really digging this.
Ooh,
Hmm.
you know what? I don't remember really getting like a mango pineapple note on any of these going through the first time, but I'm totally getting it here, especially now that you've said it. Just kind of triggered in my brain. There's a very tropical. Actually, I think there was one blend. I don't know if this is the same one. I remember going back when we were tasting through. It almost tasted like an ultra aged Irish whiskey, which gets really in those tropical notes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know if that's what it's reminding. I think maybe that could be the same blend, but man, this is good.
Oh man, I'm loving this.
Cheers all from the losers bracket. Hey Danny, you made it to the semifinals. So Danny Lopez had a really good blend. It was I think it was a Burai that he made. Oh, actually, yeah, Danny blended Burais from different distilleries and then blended all those together.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cool. He had a brilliant idea. What other blenders bottles does she buy consistently that regular folks can find? That's a really good question. Is there anything off the shelf that you really love as far as a blender goes that you like? I mean, even if you look at like Wild Turkey 101, I mean, technically that's a blend.
I was actually just going to say Wild Turkey 101 because you know what? I can go to any place in the United States or for that matter around I've found it in Hobart, Tasmania, for example. Wild Turkey 101. I can go anywhere, at any dive bar. I've worked in places where there's not a whole lot of choice.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the bar and at the end of the night, and that's something that is consistent. Consistent is good quality, and it's gonna be a good evening with that. So I know it's not maybe the sexiest answer, but I would have to say Wild Turkey 101 is just fantastic.
Nancy, in your blend pyramid, what percentage of the base vanilla caramel notes do you generally shoot for compared to supplemental and then that top of the pyramid notes?
Oh boy, that is so blend specific. So probably, gosh, I don't know, 40 to 60% of the blend. I mean, it really depends on what I'm making, and
I would imagine you would start with a specific base, and then things can just kind of alter as you go, right? Yeah. Okay, so we both love C and D so far are both amazing on the nose and on the palate.
Wow, loving it. So are we on to E yet?
Yeah, let's go to E. This is
here.
The last two blends have been fantastic. I'm can't wait to see what else is going on here.
And by the way, if you keep on seeing me smell my wrist, that's one of the best ways to ground yourself after nosing is to actually kind of like smell your own wrist or the inner part of your arm. That's what most professionals do. So that's
well, we're nothing if not professional.
Blender's secret here. So
yeah. Oh, okay. So this to me gets more on a very nutty cinnamon level.
Yeah, I'm totally getting that. Yeah.
Like immediately off the bat, that's what I get.
Yeah, I get that, and I also get something very like a Cinnabon type of note.
Yeah, this is very heavy cinnamon, and I'm here for it. I really dig it. It's nice. I'm a heavy cinnamon guy. I like dark coffee with a lot of cinnamon, and
love that.
This is kind of taking me there. It's kind of taking me there.
Yeah, and cinnamon roll with maybe white icing on it too.
Oh, we're getting into the Pillsbury shit now, Nancy. Oh yes. Yes. Just kind of drizzle that cinnamon on it. That's right. Oh man, that's fantastic. I hope the palate measures up here. You taste it. I'm not tasting now.
Yeah, I'm gonna taste that one again.
Oh my.
Wow. Yeah.
Again, another hitter.
That is. Yeah.
Oh my God! This even has the finish on it too. It's living right here, Nancy. Right?
It is, and the length. I was going to use an expletive, and I'll probably avoid that. But that, I mean, it's fan-blankentastic. I'm really digging this.
Big tuna. I actually like to drink, if I'm making my own coffee, I just want like straight black coffee with cinnamon. I go with the Bustelo from Puerto Rico. Oh my God, that's like my favorite. That's like my everyday little cafe Bustelo coffee. That's my shit.
So yeah, this to me is really decadent. I'm getting is the nose or the palate definitely delivers what the nose promises on this. Both the cinnamon and the white icing and a little bit of pastry on there.
I totally get the pastry. I'm with you. The pastry note. I think in the beginning, the cinnamon roll, the pastry, the vanilla icing, but there's this level of spice and complexity on the finish that I'm absolutely loving. It is just sitting on the back. This is something I could sit down with all night and just sip, like slowly and just enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That is just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, James. Yep. It's good to be rock star sometimes.
Very, very impressed by E. Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah. So far, C, D, and E have really brought some. Not only great nose, but great complexity on the palate. It's going to be really tough to kind of, somebody's got to go home, unfortunately.
I agree. But I'm really impressed by the level of these blends, the level of complexity. I mean, with everything, really. It's hard to blend at this level.
Yeah, this is definitely the biggest entry, the most entries we've gotten. It started the first year I did this, Nancy. We got 8 blends, 8, and that was so much fun to do. But now, 40 blends plus all the blends we got for I did a Frankenstein category before this one, which is where anybody was allowed to blend anything from Scotch to bourbon to rum to whatever they wanted to use to make a blend, as long as it wasn't like a flavored liqueur or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, some of those were absolutely delicious too. We had a winner for that. So it's but this American whiskey bracket this year and all the blends have been absolutely fantastic. So I can't thank everyone enough for making this so special this year.
Absolutely. That's I'm so impressed by the level that we're playing at here. What is this, Nancy? I'll cook for the camp.
Make Sunday gravy meatballs. I have an open bottle of batch 22, but which bottle am I opening next? 33 or 105? You tell Thrasher.
Maybe 33 next. Yeah.
Yeah, 33. Yeah, Slippin' Jimmy came in out of nowhere, but Slippin' Jimmy, who was actually ADHD whiskey, he was very gracious enough to give the win to Terrence Scott. So Terrence Scott is actually gonna get all the prizes. So, yep.
Love it.
Friggin' Slippin' Jimmy. All right, so we loved E. E is fantastic.
That is.
All right, I think the last one, F, has a lot to live up to here. Here we go.
Okay.
I think this is getting a little bit more back to the rye component for me.
I'm getting that too. A lot of dill, seed. It's very savory.
Very savory. I don't get it often, but I'm getting a very distinct cardamom in here.
I get that as well. Yeah, that's not something I find that often.
Hey, there's Terrence McDermott. Congrats, man. Terrence McDermott technically he got second place next to Jimmy McGill, but he is definitely the winner because Jimmy McGill's the ringer. So cheers, Terrence. Thanks for hanging out, buddy.
And this is almost perfumey, and it's in the rye notes. So what I'm liking about it is the spectrum of rye notes on, like you said, a cardamom, dill. I'm getting some caraway in there.
Caraway. I think that was the other spice I was trying to think of. Caraway. Totally.
Caraway. Yeah. Just a hint of lemon balm, and there's a thyme.
Yeah, this is very, even on the palate, it's very rye forward. I get like my grandma's like basil, like fresh basil on here. It's like fresh and peppery, like that fresh basil note you get. I totally get that on this.
But I'm finding the palate is quite drying. So, which to be fair, that's something about rye, that it can be very difficult to work with rye because you want, the nose is absolutely fantastic on this. I'll have to say, but what I'm
it is. I really do like the rye spice of this. It's definitely more rye forward than some of the others.
Right. Right.
I mean, if you kind of compare it to the first one, which was very rye heavy, that we thought, but even on the nose, it's a lot sweeter on A compared to F.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. This is I love the perfumey rye note on F, but
yep,
it's really drying for me on the palate.
God, yeah, it is very dry, but it reminds me of like a good Kentucky Owl a little bit. One of the Kentucky Owl blends that Dixon did like back in the day. Back in the day, meaning like last year or 2 years ago. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, there's something on the finish that's almost like cardboard for me, that, and I don't mean to be offensive at all by saying that, but there's something that on the palate I'm just finding. Like the beauty of the nose is just incredible, but the palate is so dry.
It's a little dry, and it's also a little bit bitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a bitterness to it.
There's a bitterness to it. All right.
So, I think we're in
a good place.
Yeah.
This is kind of went the way I thought it would go. This is a difficult. I remember this bracket, the right side of the bracket being extremely competitive. All of them are very good blends. It's just now, we're down to, like you said, granular, like nitpicking, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: there's nothing here that if somebody put it in front of me that I would turn down. I mean, the blending at this point is, we're really, this is just creme de la creme, and I feel like at this point we're really getting granular. And
yeah, we're nitpicking at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but if somebody put any of these in front of me and said, Nancy, drink it, you better bet I would definitely, have a dram of any of these. But yeah,
there you go, blenders. Nancy Fraley approves all these blends tonight. So even if you happen not to make it to the final four, all of you made incredible blends. So.
No, it's a hard work, and I totally appreciate what's going on here. So the ones I feel like at the moment that I would eliminate, and again, are excellent blends, but maybe not for what we're looking for here, will be A, B, and F. And
I'm exactly with you, because I think C, D, and E stand out so much.
Yes.
I don't think A, B, and F just have enough to keep up with them, just based on what we've tasted.
I totally agree. So,
okay, so now we have to somehow work through the fact that we have to eliminate one of these three. So, okay.
All right. So we're gonna push those.
Yeah, A, B, and F are being eliminated. It is down to C, D, and E, which were in the flight easy favorites for both me and Nancy. So it's really going to come down. I don't know who goes home here, but it's oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Man, yeah, this is. Yeah, the competition is really stiff at this point, I feel.
Yeah, so it's not that it's rye forward, Wise Guy Whiskey Guy. It's the rye is there, but I think the rye also overtook and made it a little bit drying on the palate, unfortunately. Amy Boehm is here. How you doing, Amy? She says, sounds like a great group of blends in the running. Nancy approved is quite the accomplishment. Absolutely. Jeffrey Wax says, I know the answer. Mine is somewhere between A and F, but hopefully C through E. Oh, shit. We'll see. Oh, my gosh.
Good to see you, Amy, though. Yeah, that's wonderful as always.
Yeah, Shelby Strunk is, he just wrote some boxes. I guess he's nervous. So we'll see what happens. Also, real quick, before Nancy and I get into the final three here, if any of you guys missed out, our Starlight picks that we did, our single barrel Starlight picks made it through Patreon. So I'll show you guys real quick the bottles here. If anybody missed out, we have our Starlight, which we did, and this is the Rockstar, which has a holographic sticker on it. So this is the Starlight Rockstar we did, which is a 4.5-year-old bourbon, which is an absolute, look how dark it is for 4.5 years. It is an absolute flavor monster, stone fruit, rock candy, all day long. We also did something we called Indiana Nights Dram to kind of play off the midwinters, which is an estate port finished rye from Starlight. Absolutely delicious. And then something that we did a little bit off the beaten path, we've never done one of these before, is we called it the Applejacked. And it's basically an apple brandy finished rye whiskey that is perfect for the season right now. So there are a handful of bottles left for those, if anybody's interested. You can buy them right now on Shared Pour. I'll throw the link in the chat in case anybody is interested in trying any of the picks from the Master Journey Whiskey Club. So here we go.
To try that apple brand, I've been friends with the Cubers for years. I love what they do, and I've been a big fan of their Applejack and such for years. So I later get back to me, because I'd really like to buy a bottle of that.
Oh yeah, I'll send you one if you want, Nancy. You want to try the Applejack?
Yes, I would.
Okay, yeah. I'll send you the link, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's
All right, we have to eliminate one of these 3 delicious blends. Let's see what we got here.
Ooh, okay, so starting with C again.
Oh gosh. So when we first tried C, you said you definitely got oxidized esters, fatty acids, marzipan,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, it seems to have some age on it. That is just beautiful to me. Oh wow, fantastic.
I just love how much the nose matches the palate on this blend.
It does, and that balance is so there, and the length on it. I'm going to take another sip and.
Yep. God, that's delicious. It's almost become like this strawberry shortcake, cherry cordial type experience going on it. It's really sweet, very thick and rich. Gosh, that is a great blend.
That's beautiful. That really is a fantastic blend.
Damn. Oh my God, Scotch on the Bayou is here. How you doing, Leanne? Nice to see you, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. Huber Farm is a fantastic experience.
Yeah, Huber Farm is for sure.
It's a cool place.
All right, let's gonna go to D here.
All right.
So D rewrote. Great balance, great texture, extremely balanced blend. Those are some of the notes I wrote.
Yep, that's. Well, the intensity on it too is just amazing.
Yeah, this has a real big flavor punch on the palate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like C matches nose and palate. This one, I think the nose is a bit more delicate, but the palate is an absolute beast.
Wow. that is intense. Yeah.
It's got a lot of flavor on the palate on that one.
It's got a lot going on.
Yep.
But I'm finding it compared to C, it has a little bit more aggressiveness.
Oh, it's definitely more aggressive. I totally agree. It's definitely more aggressive. I'm not sure if it's the proof or the way the blend has kind of integrated over the last couple weeks.
That's exactly what I was thinking as well. Yeah.
Man, that's nice. I
That's
don't know.
Nice. Well.
So if you had to pick between C and D, where are you leaning?
All right, I'm gonna.
Yep. I know everybody that has a blend right now is sweating their ass off. Oh my gosh.
I think I would C actually.
I would agree with you. C has. It's not only. It may not be as punch you in the face as D, but there's a level of complexity and nuance to it and uniqueness that's making me kind of lean that way.
But that and the level of finesse on it is just that is just, and that's really difficult to achieve right there. I know as a blender that's
whoever blended this is that's
I love D, but I think C is just not much.
So quick question, Nancy. How long do you think a blend has to sit to be at its best? I'm thinking that's subjective, but I would like to hear your perspective.
Well, to a sit, you mean like in a tank or
yeah, I mean if you're in a lab and you kind of blend some samples together, you kind of figure out, okay, this is the blend I want to go with. Then you grab those barrels, you put it in a tank based on your proportions, based on your mathematics. How long does that have to sit, you think, to get to where you want it to be? Generally.
I think the best blends I've ever done kind of go over the shortest amount of time is probably about 3 months.
Oh, okay.
The longest is probably several years.
Oh shit, several years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
Like,
everybody that wants to be in Blendageddon next year, start now.
well, that's why when I talk about like Jay Henry and all, when we go, we those blends we do for several years. It's not
Yeah.
just like a here in the moment or spur of the moment type thing. It's it's something that goes over a number of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way I was trained too. For in the cognac world, putting blends together, and 5 to 10 to 16 to 20 years. That's not that we do that for bourbon necessarily, but the more time that you've got to work on a blend, the better.
The better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that. All right. So we're on to E right now.
Yeah, we just have to figure out which one is going to go home from the 3 here.
Yeah. So are we just picking one tonight?
No, the top 2 that we pick make it to the final 4.
Okay. Gotcha.
One of these 3 we have to somehow eliminate.
Oh my God, this is so difficult.
I know, which is tough because all 3 are fantastic.
Dang. Oh, this is.
Oh my holy shit! Bourbon Lens is in the house. What is going on?
Woo! All right.
Bourbon Lens, one of the best podcasts in the bourbon space. Everyone, please listen to Bourbon Lens. Great podcast. Thanks for chiming in, guys, tonight. I really appreciate it. Lionel G, why don't we hear more about Jay Henry on Whiskey Tube? I think because, for me, I would love to review more Jay Henry, but I can't get it where I am. So I think it's a distribution thing. But all in all, Jay Henry is fantastic. Yep.
Yeah, we're scaling up in a major way this next year at Jay Henry, so it's probably going to become a lot easier to find, and it's just been a thing of scale and not wanting to promise markets that if you can't keep things up yet, but yeah, it's about to scale up.
Yep. Okay, that's good to know.
All right,
E. Now, we were both very impressed with E as well.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, Jason. I feel like C is definitely a keeper.
I think C is making it to the final 4.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
All right. So C moves on to the final 4.
C moves on, and now I, the.
Now we nitpick D and E to find what's the better one.
Difficult. God.
Yep. I love the nose on D.
I do too. That's.
Now the palate though. Gosh, E is such an awfully good palate. It is spicy to sweet. When we talked about balance, I feel like E has the balance. I got to find it in D.
Let's see where we are in E.
Oh, they're both so good. Nancy, help me.
Jason, help me. That's.
Oh my God.
I mean, C is clearly.
C is above. C is definitely above and beyond.
Yeah, that's going on. But between E and D and E, I'm having a challenge here. That this is competition for sure.
I will say they both. I'm not going to say they taste the same, but I think on the palate they offer a similar experience from the nose to the palate, where you're getting a great nose, you're getting a great palate. It hits all the senses that you want. It just comes down to the flavors now, I think, for these.
Okay, there's D. Okay. Note that.
I don't know. I think E has just something extra to me, especially on the finish, that D just lacks slightly. What do you think, Nancy?
I am with you 100%. So what I'm finding in E is I get these are very similar.
They are similar.
But what I'm finding here is D. There's, and again, beautiful blend. Whoever blended this is, that this is a fantastic blend. We're getting down to the really nitty gritty granular stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a little bit of aggressiveness on the palate and a bit more dryness than I want to find. The nose is just outstanding. Man,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Fantastic. Just beautiful. The structure is just fantastic. But what I'm finding, and I'm going to pour just a little bit more of E because I've been enjoying a bit of E, is that I feel like that what I'm getting on both the nose and the palate, there's enough caramelized wood sugars to kind of carry the rice spice and such. It's just.
So Nancy, quick question: can a blend sit in a plastic tote or a tank for years for it to blend? Does that happen?
It does. Plastic kind of depends on the grade of plastic. Same with stainless. So with the stainless, usually you want to go with a passivated grade of stainless steel, like
oh my gosh,
316. But anyway, on that, usually when you do a blend and you put it into a tank, the best way to kind of let the blend recover and kind of let it be more organic, the process is to put it back into used cooperage again.
Mm-hmm.
The barrel's kind of like a lung, it kind of breathes, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the best approach there. But
all right, Nancy, it's time. Which two are you putting through? We already put C through. Between D and E, which one are you picking?
I think I'm going to go with the E, my friend.
I am with you. I think E has an extra, just something special about it. Oh my God, this is crazy. This is
finish is just insane.
Oh, the finish is insane on E. Oh,
yeah, that. So C and E are where I'm going tonight, and again, I so appreciate this level of blending from everyone. You guys have done a fantastic job, and it's a hard to get to this level, and
mm-hmm.
It's I appreciate the artistry and such, and I'm again, there's no blend here that I would turn down at all. But I think getting to the fine granular level, C and E are where we're going to go.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think they're above and beyond, and I'm glad that you're on and Ryan was on. I've had some other judges to kind of help me guide through this because I have a specific palate, obviously, like everybody else does, and I think just getting some outside help. And, for the semifinals and the finals, having palettes like yours and Fred's and Matt's just helping me through this, I think it's more of a respect to the blends. And I want to make sure that they get due respect because, folks have worked so hard on it. Just like you. I mean, you said you've had blends you've been working on for years and years. So,
and I'm not always happy with, that's why in some cases, that's why I work on them for years, is because I'm not happy with them. They have to evolve, or they're going through crests and troughs, or you add something to it, you completely change the chemistry of what's going on. But But that said, I'm just at this level. You know, there's nothing here that is inferior. I mean that all of these are excellent, and I'm so thrilled with the level that we're playing at on
So C&E is moving on to the finals as judged by Nancy Fraley, Nancy the Nose, the Legend Fraley, and myself. C&E moving on. So this is kind of the tough part. We get to find out now who is getting eliminated. So,
oh dear. Okay.
D, A, B, and F. I have my girlfriend. She happened to pour these blinds. She left the little fancy envelope here. So let's see what's in the envelope. Here we go. Right. And then, actually, Nancy, we also get to, so the ones that get eliminated, we get to find out what's in their blends. So this should be pretty interesting for you as well. So
I'm excited. And while we're doing this, I'm going to do a mini blend of C and E.
Oh, okay. I'll join you.
Yeah, but I think that combination would be just fantastic.
All right, C and E are being blended right here before your eyes, folks. There you go, the two winners. We'll see what that turns into. Okay, I'm gonna let that mingle. I don't have years, but we have a few minutes, so let that sit.
Yep.
All right, so we'll save D because they were in the mix for the last one. But let's go to the first one, which was letter A. Letter A belongs to Saucy Shane.
Saucy Shane.
Saucy Shane. Oh. So Saucy Shane, right here in the bracket. Let's see here. So Saucy Shane, he made the blend called the Finisher, and it was a freaking finisher.
Yeah.
So let's find out what was in his blend. Now, we thought it was very rye forward, so...
Right, yeah.
Let's see what's in his blend here. So we have...
There.
40% Company Distilling Company.
Okay.
So that's the former Master Distiller over at Jack Daniels who went over and created Company.
Yep.
Daddy Rack Cast Strength. I don't know what that is. What's Daddy Rack?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And then Old Ezra 7, 117 proof, which is a cast strength bourbon. Daddy Rack. I've never heard of that one.
Never heard of that either.
100, but that was 126.1 proof.
Really? Wow. Yeah. That's and it was actually very soft for strength.
Let's see here. Saucy Shane. He wrote, I knew it. Saucy Shane, tell us a little bit about Daddy Rack. Daddy Rack is in Tennessee, says Bourbon Lens.
Oh, okay.
That's a wild, gutsy blend. Bravo, says Saucy Shane. Yeah, that's a really interesting blend. I don't know if that's a rye forward blend. I'm not really sure. Bourbon Lens says likely Dickel. Okay.
Oh,
interesting.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the next one, which is letter B.
Yep.
Oh, no, B. B belongs to Jeffrey Wack. Jeffrey Wack. Oh, Jeffrey, so sorry, buddy.
Sorry. Yeah. But very well done for sure.
Jeffrey Wack, yeah, really well done blend. Jeffrey Wack is called A Tale of Two Cities. So let's see. So his blend, letter B. Mm-hmm. We said the nose doesn't match the palate.
Right.
So let's find out what's in Jeffrey's blend. Oh my God, this is quite the list here. Okay. Kentucky, so Tale of Two Cities here. 34% Wild Turkey Rare Breed, 25% Lucky 7 Proprietor 14-year, which is Barton. Mm-hmm. Then he went Indiana. He went 25% Red Line Honey Finish from the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. And then he went 16% Nulu Spice Jam, which is also a Mash and Journey pick. So, damn. Wow.
Wow.
Damn. Jeffrey says I blame the guys that picked these barrels.
So very nicely done.
Oh, Jeff, dude. That was a
blend. Yeah.
That was a hell of a blend, man.
Yeah.
All right. The other one we eliminated was letter F.
Right?
So letter F, from the notes, we thought it was rye forward, also but a little bit drying on the palate. So let's go to F. F belonged to Wise Guy Whiskey Guy.
Oh, man.
With his Wise Man's Bull Rye. So there was a good amount of rye in it.
Okay, that's all right. So we got that right, yeah.
So figuring Wise Man's Bull Rye, I'm thinking he put some Kentucky Owl into it. So let's see what's in this blend here.
I'm excited to hear this.
All right, so his blend consisted of, it was two things, Nancy, just two. Kentucky Owl Bourbon Batch 9, which is a pretty legendary bourbon batch.
Yes.
And Kentucky Owl Rye Batch 1, which is a very legendary rye batch. 119 proof overall. I think the rye took over the bourbon, to be honest. Yeah.
I agree. And it was a beautiful, it was so perfumey, if that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, but the final thing that kind of cut it for me was just the fact that it was a bit too dry on the palate. But I love, and the nose I could just spend days on, and I thought that was a very beautiful blend.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
All right, guys. So the ones we have left in the mix here to move on to the finals is Shelby Strunk, Kelsey Dime.
Woo! All right.
and Eric Sawyer. But unfortunately, we have to talk about letter D, which just missed it by just this much. And that blend belongs to Kelsey Dime.
Oh,
Kelsey! So fucking close.
Man, that was. I'm just gonna pour a little bit in your honor.
Oh, Kelsey!
Oh,
but Kelsey, I mean, that blend that you made was pretty stellar, dude.
Yeah.
He named that one Dime Bag Stash.
Love it.
So that means, holy shit, Shelby Strunk with the finisher, moving on to the finals, along with Eric Sawyer, and no butterflies have been harmed in the making of this blend.
That cracks me up.
Congratulations to everyone in this bracket. Obviously, Nancy was pretty impressed by all of you. Oh my God, the butterflies are alive. I was gonna say that. Shelby Strunk and Eric Sawyer moving on against Keith Thompson and Oisin Hayes for the Blendageddon champion of 2022. Congrats, guys. Congrats. So C, which is the one that we really loved, belonged to Shelby Strunk. That was the finisher. And letter E, who we lean toward as a fantastic blend, that was Eric Sawyer's. No butterflies were harmed in the making of this blend.
Oh my God, I'm so thrilled that no butterflies were harmed.
Kelsey, I couldn't find your blend makeup. So if you could let us know in the chat what was in it. I hope it wasn't too many things, but if you could let us know, Kelsey, what was in your blend. So I have Shelby's here and I have Eric's here, and we will not find out what's in this blend until the finals. So that goes in the hopper.
About that.
Whiskey Central says we have 1 to 95 entries. All right, Whiskey Central, we're going to give away two 12 days of Christmas Mash and Journey sample packs, which will have 12 different samples in it. So Nancy, I'm going to ask you, please pick a number between 1 and 95.
Wow. I'll take 78.
78. Whiskey Central, who's got number 78? Let's see here. I think someone was asking when the 28 sounds fantastic. Okay, got it. So the final four of Blendageddon will be December 28th. December 28th, right after Christmas. Fred Minnick, Matt Porter from ADHD Whiskey. Also, there will be a huge St. Jude fundraiser to go along with the event. I have a ton of bottles. Darrell Stewart I'm working with. A lot of people from the community have donated some bottles to build up some amazing fundraising for St. Jude. Everybody that donates will have a chance to get one of the bottles. Will be put in a hopper to get a bottle, and the list will come out soon. So it'll be a couple weeks. This will give us a little bit of time to prepare for the entire show. So December 28th, Blendageddon, the finals, Oisin Hayes, Keith Thompson, Shelby Strunk, and Eric Sawyer going head-to-head for the champion of 2022. So congratulations, everybody.
A huge congratulations. And I again, I know it's it's hard work to get to this level, but super impressed by everything I've tasted tonight. And I kind of feel like this, we're being so nitpicky at this level.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's tough. You really have to pick out, really, really nitpicky. Kathy Graves, number 78. Kathy, congratulations. You won the 12-pack for the Master Journey Whiskey Club. You get 12 different drams, all of our picks. Congratulations. Really appreciate that. Kathy, email themashanddrum@gmail.com and I will make up your samples. And let's see here. Congrats to the Graves. And actually, I'll rustle up something to add to the mix. Amy, thank you so much, Amy. A couple weeks, like I said, December 28th, right after Christmas, that Wednesday, we're going to be going live with Fred Minnick and Matt from ADHD Whiskey for the finals. I'll have a bottle list at some point once I talk to Darrell and figure out what bottles we're going to be donating. I'm not going to even pick a number for this one because I'm going to give the birthday boy, Burr Ben, I'm going to give him his 12 samples. I'm going to send 12 samples to Ben for his birthday, and being such a longtime supporter of myself and the Master Journey Whiskey Club, and just being just a great human. So, cheers, Ben. You're going to get 12 drams for the 12 days of Christmas from myself. Amy Bohm, congratulations. Thank you to everyone that watched tonight. Cheers. Actually, you know what? Let's pick one more number. I'll get a third giveaway in there. We'll have Bird Ben. I'll send him some shit. But let's get another 12-pack in there for someone else. I'm going to pick number, since we have so many super chats tonight, I'll go on the low side. I'm going to go number 18. Favorite baseball player, Darryl Strawberry. Number 18. Who do we got, Whiskey Central? So here we go. Let me write Kathy Graves. Whiskey Central. Bird Ben knows where to find me. Watch the number be Bird Ben. Yeah, right. Who do you have for number 18, Whiskey Central? John Reese. Congratulations, buddy. John Reese, you're going to win a 12-pack from the Master Journey Whiskey Club. I'll send you some really good shit. That's all I'm going to say. So, John Reese, congratulations. Send me an email at the Master Journey Whiskey Club. Congrats also to Kathy Graves and Burr Ben. Happy birthday. Send him some good stuff. Nancy, tell everybody, you're on Instagram, where we could find you on Instagram, correct?
Yeah, you absolutely can. And, I'm on Facebook too. And for next year, I'm going to I'll be in Israel next month, doing some Israeli single malt whiskey, and
Oh,
got some super cool stuff coming out for next year too. So,
oh my gosh! So everybody, be on the lookout for that.
yeah,
Nancy Fraley, thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor tasting some of these blends with you. Thank you so much for being just being you and just being so authentic and being so kind to all these blenders tonight. Your input and your tasting notes were truly a huge help. Thanks for being just amazing and for what you do for the whiskey community. Thanks to all the blenders tonight for contributing a very, very tough round for Nancy and I, obviously.
very tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But congratulations to everyone. And look out in the next couple weeks. 2 weeks from now, we'll do the finals. But next week, guys, tune in. We're gonna be talking Bardstown Bourbon Company with Danny from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Talk about the new Origin series and all the great things that they're coming out with. The wheater, the rye, the bourbon, all the good stuff that they're bringing out. We'll learn about the evolution of Bardstown Bourbon Company, where they're going. And with that said, cheers to you. It's not about the whiskey; it's the people you shared it with. Thank you so much to everyone for supporting, and I'll see you next time right here on the Mass and Drum. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thanks, Jason, and thanks to everyone, and to all the blenders. You guys did a brilliant job, and thanks for all your hard work and passion, and that's it's so evident, and what you're putting out right now. So, I deeply appreciate that. So,
Cheers, everybody. See you next week.
all right, cheers.